Hi everybody! So, as promised, I've fixed the background a little bit. It actually worked out perfectly because right after I filmed my last video, my amazing mom sent me a care package of everything Halloween, and it's October, so I said, let's put it all up because I'm so excited. So now I feel properly festive, even in Spain where they don't really celebrate, but that's okay. I'm trying a different spot for light. We'll see how it works, but I'm probably still gonna have to mess with that a little bit. But anyways, as I also promised, this video is going to be a little more, well, I'm going to be ranting. This is going to be a rant video, and I apologize now because I'm still kind of upset about this after all this time. But as I mentioned before, I didn't have internet for 1 month, an entire month without internet, and I'm not happy about it. I finally got internet about a week ago, and I'm still upset because I had to do a lot of catch up because I'd started work already and I need internet for my job. I'm still kind of playing the game of what can I do now, trying to do everything I couldn't do in a month, and it was very difficult. So because of that, I figured as a rant video, I need to do this right. So I've got a fluffy throw blanket. It's so soft, it's so comfy. I got a cup of tea. So good. It's still steeping though, so I'm gonna give that a little longer. But I figured if I'm going to be ranting, then I need to rant correctly. And that involves every comfort you can get. And yeah, obviously a lot of tea. So if you want to take a minute, pause this video, go make yourself a cup of tea or grab some comfort food or whatever, feel free to do that right now, and then we'll get started. So, there is one thing, that I miss more than anything else about American culture. And yes, I say American culture because despite what many people believe, the US actually does have a culture. I mean, we have many depending on your region, but in general, we have some things that you can find basically nationwide, you know? And so aside from missing my dog back home, this is the one thing that I find myself thinking about every single day and thinking, wow, we actually have something really right over there, and I'm still trying to adjust after over 2 months in another country without it. And that'll be our service culture. So I know if you've ever worked retail or basically anything where you were directly working with a customer, the phrase, the customer is always right, is probably your least favorite thing you've ever heard in your entire life. And I agree, because the customer is not always right. In fact, many times the customer is very, very, very wrong. That being said, the service you get under the pretext that the customer is always right is beautiful. You can go into a store and ask somebody for help, and they will help you because their job is to help you. You can be confused about something and ask for clarification, and they will walk you through step by step. Like if you go for a service, if you're trying to start, like get TV or something, they will help you figure out what is best for you. Sure, chances are they want you to go for the more expensive options, so people might be a little pushy, you know what I mean? But they're still going to help you. They are still there to make sure you are happy. That is not the case in Spain. The customer is not right, ever, ever. Out of every experience I have had going to any type of shop, store, bank, I have met one person who was helpful and kind and, genuinely was trying to help me figure out what I needed to do. And that was in my bank who I love very much. I have sent all of my friends to her, and they've all come back saying, oh my gosh, she was the nicest person I met here. And I'm saying, yeah, because she actually cared, whereas most people don't. So let me explain, because this is obviously coming back to the internet. So I got my internet from my phone company, which is pretty normal here. So there are 3 major phone companies in Spain, Movistar, Vodafone, and Orange. And I'm not going to say which one I use because I don't want to call them out. I don't want you to hear this story and think, oh my gosh, if I ever go there, I'm not using them. Because the truth is, what I got from them is great because I use them for both my phone and my internet. And now that I have both, it's perfect. Like the service that I get is exactly what I'm paying for. I have no complaints. Once I've received it all, it's perfect. And honestly, you're not going to get better service at one versus the other. I have heard horror stories from all 3. I have heard great stories from all 3. It really just depends on who was working that day when you walked in. Unfortunately, most of the stories I hear are not happy. And mine is not happy. So I went to them for my phone, and that was easy. That was a breeze. No questions asked. I have a monthly payment plan, so I don't even have a contract. I just go in, I pay every month when I run out, and I get the next month, and it's no hassle, no questions asked. Perfect. I'm totally happy with that, totally fine, never had any problems. So when I went to get my internet, I realized, like I said, there is no service culture here, okay? And it was a very busy day. I picked a bad time, apparently. Everybody in the city went to go get something from this store at that time. There were probably about 30 people in line, which is basically unheard of. I mean, even in the US, you would think 30 people in line, oh my gosh, no. But it was worse because there was only one person on the floor. So I feel so sorry for that person. Like, it had to be a really stressful day. But the thing is, there was one person on the floor and the manager was also there, but the manager wasn't helping anybody. I don't know what they were doing. They kept coming in and out of the room, but they went to the back instead of being, helpful to this poor worker that has 30 people in line. That being said, this worker, whether it be the stress or whatever, took it badly. They were not doing what they were supposed to be doing at all. I was in there for probably a good hour waiting to speak to them because the line was so long, and I saw that and I said, okay, this is gonna take longer than I thought. And I could have gone back later, but I wanted internet, so I stayed. And this person was just not working. There were, like I said, there were a lot of people there waiting. This was the only person on the floor that could help anybody. And it was a cell phone and an internet company, so you have to actually talk to people to get things done. And they were just sitting there. Like, I don't know if they were working on something I couldn't see, but from a bystander's point of view, they were completely slacking off and doing absolutely no work whatsoever and not helping a single customer. So obviously, all of the customers were getting kind of upset because we're all sitting there thinking, our day, your day, we need to get a move on now. So one of the customers, bless her heart, elderly woman, very sweet to be honest, went up to the worker and was just like, hey, you haven't been helping anybody for over 10 minutes now. And I'm next in line. Can I talk to you? And that was it, obviously upset, not happy, but not in any way rude. I had been there for a long time. This was the first time the customer had said anything. And this worker actually started screaming at the customer. She started yelling. It looked like she was about to throw things. She was throwing a whole fit, like just so mad, saying, how dare you be talking to me? I can't do anything. anything. I'm trying to get stuff done, but with you talking to me, I can't do things. Like, you're stressing me out, blah, 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 blah. How dare you, you evil incarnate, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, this worker is actually yelling at the customer. What's worse is the manager came out at that point, just happened to come out at that point, and didn't care. The manager literally just kind of like walked on by, got what he needed, and walked back into the back room. Like it was actually okay for a worker to be reaming out a customer who did nothing wrong. Like, let's be perfectly honest. I have seen so many situations where I want to yell at customers, but that wouldn't have been one of them. Okay? Like, the customer had every right to ask, like, hey, I don't know what you're doing. It looks like you're not working. You need to be working. Can I talk to you? And so I was just like in shock, just pure shock. And nobody else seemed to care at all. And I'm just thinking, like, how is this possible that a company can run this way? How is it possible that a company that lives off of having customers can treat them so badly? It makes no sense. Until I think in the entire country, there are only 3 phone companies. Only 3. And they're all basically the same. I mean, wherever you go, you're getting the exact same service for basically the exact same price. So because there's no competition, why does the company care? Are you going to leave? Where are you going to go? The same place? Just down the street? You're not going to be treated any better there. And I'm thinking, like, oh my gosh. If this was the United States, you know, I mean, we obviously have like the major phone companies and cell phones and so on, but still, if you don't treat people well, everybody knows you're going to be reamed on social media, you're going to get so many bad reviews, your company is going to take a hit, especially because you know somebody is going to be back there recording a person screaming and the manager doing nothing about it. But here, it was just fine. Like, everybody was like, oh, okay, whatever, doesn't matter. The workers are allowed to scream at customers. And I don't understand. I don't understand. I really can't see how businesses can thrive this way. It makes no sense. And so that's kind of what I miss about the service culture. And that connects to internet more so, because on top of being a service culture, it's very difficult to be an international customer. So it's kind of like you're layered, okay? So there's your customers, your random people thinking about being customers, and then there are international customers, is what I have found to be the case basically anywhere. So because I don't have a Spanish ID number, I have a Spanish foreigner ID number, I'm treated very differently at many, many places. So at this place, where a Spanish ID person can get yelled at, you can just assume what happens to me. And don't worry, it wasn't like I was yelled at, but it was still, I wasn't treated even like a customer, like a paying customer. I gave them money. I set up everything for my internet. I figured it all out, and I was still treated like I wasn't there. I didn't do anything for them. So I went over a month ago. This happened over a month ago. And they told me, you know, September is a busy month, especially for internet, all of the students are coming into town and so on. And I'm thinking, okay, if September is a busy month every year, any business worth anything is going to have figured out that they need to prepare for September. Apparently, because this isn't a service culture, businesses don't need to prepare for busy seasons. So instead of having already figured out that they're going to need more internet routers prepared to give to people, they just said, well, we're going to do it the normal way and see what happens. So of course, everybody is waiting on their internet. Just about every single person I talked to was still waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks for their internet to come in. And everybody's getting really mad, but they can't do anything about it because this is the same for every place. So it's not just this one company that I went to, all of the companies were doing this. Which again, how can a business survive if you're not going to prepare for the rush? Okay, anyways. I need some tea. So now, because I am an international person, I have to wait even longer than most people. So if I was Spanish, I probably would have had to wait like 1-2 weeks, which is still frustrating, but at least it's only 1 or 2 weeks, and they would have told me that. Because I'm international, they just said, yeah, we'll let you know when you're gonna get it. Bye-bye. So I had no idea when I was going to get my internet, so I had to have my phone ready at all times. I took a trip during this time and I was terrified. I told my roommates, I was like, I don't know what to do. And finally, my roommates, because by that point it had already been about 2 weeks, my roommates are Spanish, so they went back and were told, oh yeah, but it's because it was an international ID, so we have to do a background check, we have to make sure that the bank account is real, we have to do all these things. And I'm thinking, what? Why do you need to do a background check on my ID number when I'm just trying to get internet from you? I've given you my bank account number. I've already paid. Like, you shouldn't have to do anything just because I have an international number. I am still a paying customer. You're still getting money from me. So I demand to have my service when I'm paying you for it. But no, because they have all of these policies set in place for international people, which makes no sense because there are actually a lot of international people trying to get internet because there's a lot of foreign exchange students who are here needing internet. So everybody I was talking to was having this problem. But because I have Spanish roommates, they said, great, change it over to our number then. So not only were they able to do that, but I wasn't even there. I wasn't even in the country. And somebody was able to go and change my reservation to theirs. I mean, I don't care because, it was for me. I'm still getting the internet. But I feel like anybody could have gone and said they were me, and I wouldn't have had to be present for them to give them my stuff. And that makes me so upset and so terrified. And it's just all of these things building up. And then finally, because I got the Spanish number, they finally said, okay, yeah, it should be about 1 to 2 weeks, which means that I still would have been having to wait more than 2 weeks had they not changed it over to their number. And it took 2 weeks. So it didn't even take like the 1 to 2 weeks. No. It took the full 2 weeks before we finally got our internet. And I'm just sitting here thinking, how is this possible? I don't understand. So if you're coming to Spain, or when you come to Spain, be prepared. People don't treat you like a customer. They treat you like a pain they have to deal with, which is so frustrating. And if you know anything about business, which I'm going to say, I have never studied business in my life. I know nothing, and I still understand that this is a horrible business practice. And I can't comprehend how this can continue on. So be prepared for some really crappy service because you won't get any. But that was my rant. And I don't want to make it sound like everything's bad. It's just very frustrating. I'm so sick and tired of being treated differently because of where I come from when I'm just trying to get things so that I can work and live well in Spain. So don't forget, it's hard to go to another country sometimes. There's always going to be something, but it'll be fine, and the good things do make up for it. Just maybe the next time you hear the customer is always right, appreciate it, because I really miss it. Bye-bye.